Before going to seminary, I practiced trial law in Corpus Christi, Texas. For 15 years, I advocated before judges and juries for my clients. I wanted them to be seen in a particular way, in a good way. I stood beside them, interceding for them, presenting evidence, arguing for rulings and judgments in their favor. I wanted to get them the best deal possible. And for a long time, that's how I understood the advocates that Jesus speaks of in today's gospel. Maybe that's your understanding as well. That this advocate would stand with us before God and try to persuade God to love, to accept, to forgive, to give, to do. That somehow this advocate would intercede on our behalf, plead our case, and seek a favorable ruling. Try to change God's mind about us. But here's what I wonder. What if we've got it backwards? What if the advocate's role is not to change God's mind about us, but to change our minds about ourselves and one another? What if the advocate doesn't come to advocate to another on our behalf, but to advocate to us, for us, and on our own behalf? And here's why I think that. That we need an advocate to change God's mind about us just doesn't fit a God who so loved the world. And it's contrary to Jesus saying that he came not to condemn the world, but that he might save and heal and transform the world. Jesus never said, I came that I might get them a good deal. He said, I came that they might have life, and have life abundant. And this old understanding of the advocate sure doesn't fit that Jesus portrayed in the gospel, the one who comes to the broken and the poor and the lame and the sinful. It doesn't fit a Jesus who heals and transforms and loves, who hangs out with all the wrong people and invites them to the table. And if that's who Jesus is, then that's who the Father is, says Jesus. So what if the advocate's role is the opposite to what we often think it is? What if the advocate doesn't represent us before God, but represents God before us, teaching us everything and reminding us of all the things that Jesus said? And I wonder what you need to be reminded of today. What parts of your life need advocating for? When you look at the world, our country, Boulder, what are the hurts and the hopes that need advocating? Do not let your hearts be troubled. I am the bread of life. Do not be afraid. My peace I give you. I am with you always, even to the end of the age. Put away your sword. Turn the other cheek. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Forgive. Wash those feet. And love one another as I have loved you. Don't you hear the advocacy in that? Don't you hear the invitation to be a part of that, to make a difference, to do something? With every one of those, Jesus is saying that your life and my life matter, that everyone's life matters, that all lives are worth advocating for. With every one of those, he is inviting us to respond, to step up, to speak out, to do something. You see, the gospel story is one of advocacy, and it's an advocacy that is at the heart of our baptismal vows, to seek and serve Christ in all people, to love our neighbors as ourselves, to strive for justice and peace, to respect the dignity of every human being. And if that's what advocacy is about, God knows we need advocates in the world today. We need to be reminded again and again, especially when the future is uncertain, when life feels like it's turned upside down and we're afraid or overwhelmed. We need that advocate to remind us that she has our back when we feel powerless and our life is out of control and we're lost and lonely. In the midst of brokenness and violence and injustice, we need the advocate to step up and speak out. And when our lives are going good and things are right and flowing and we're successful and happy, we still need the advocate. When you feel lost and afraid and lonely, as if you're fending for yourself like an orphan, we need the advocate. You see, the advocate does more than just remind us of what Jesus said. Google can tell you that. And the advocate is not some formless, invisible essence of something floating all around above the earth. The advocate shows up every single time you and I embody God's life and spirits in this place. We are the ones being sent. You and I are the ones who makes God's life present and tangible. We are the ones who give existence to the insistence of God for what life should be like in this world and in this place. And what if we each started living like that? What would that ask of you? What would it offer you? What would that kind of advocacy mean in your life today and in the relationships you experience every day? And I wonder who the advocates are in your life. Who has spoken up for you? Let you know they had your back, stood beside you. I remember my best friend John. He died a few years ago. He was always there. When I fell, he was the first one there to pick me up. When I got a little too big for my britches, he was the first one to kick me in the butt. And he would make a joke about both of those. But he never left me. And then there's Marga, my therapist. Oh my gosh, she listens to my stories every 2 weeks and challenges me with questions and observations. And even when I don't like her questions, I know she's advocating for me. And then there was that professor who made me rewrite a paper, and I was so angry at her because it was a good paper. And she said it was. She said, "There's nothing wrong with this paper, but I think you can do better. Go rewrite it." She was advocating for something in me I didn't trust. She saw more in me than I could see for myself. And my wife, that lady there, every day an advocate. Sometimes it's helpful and sometimes it's hurtful, but it's always an advocate in love. No doubt about that. Who are those people for you? And when have you been that person for someone else? Because no one gets left out of this. And I'm betting every one of you could tell about a time when Mary Kate advocated for your life, or this congregation, or the community of Boulder. And what if this season of sabbatical for her is your advocacy for her life, for her time away, for her rest, for her renewal, for her joy, for her laughter? You see, advocacy, I think, looks like love. And it speaks and works for justice, and it always affirms life. When your heart breaks for someone else and you reach out in compassion, when you weep for them over their loss, you're being their advocate. When you offer and seek forgiveness and you live with mercy rather than judgment or condemnation, and you say, "Let's try again. Let's start over. Second chances are endless." That's the work of an advocate. And when you've experienced that person who came up to you and did something that you never expected, or they said something that you never thought they would say, and it was exactly what you needed at that time, they were advocating for your life. When someone listens to your life with respect and without judgment and with love, that's advocacy. When they celebrate your joys and successes, when they hold your tears, they're advocating for you. And sometimes advocates show up and they're loud and they're present and they're tangible and they're visible and they're outspoken. And other times we never see the advocates in our life. They're quiet and hidden. Our names are on their lips. Our lives are carried in their prayers. And both are valid ways of being advocates. And I wonder what that means for you today. In what ways might you need to open yourself to receive the advocacy of another? And who are the people and the places and the circumstances waiting for your advocacy in their lives? I will not leave you orphaned, Jesus said. So let's try this. Turn around and look at each other. Really, take a look. Look in front of you, look behind you, look to the left, look to the right. The advocates are everywhere. We're surrounded by the advocates. So go today and advocate, and do it again tomorrow, and do it the day after that, and the one after that, and the one after that. We are the advocates of Christ in this world.